What is going on, beautiful people? How are you? So this is my first video on YouTube uh, through my website account. I'm Ali, and my website is Writer Ali. So welcome all to this video, this conversation. I want to share my mission and a poem's part from John Keats. So my mission is twofold. One mission is that I want to introduce Pakistanis to English literature, Pakistani youth to English literature, and also in that inspiring those who already have the passion for English literature, inspiring them and talking to them through these videos. And the second uh, part of this mission is that I want to talk to the world globally, those who are interested in English literature, be it classical, be it classical or modern literature. So I want to talk to them too. So people in England, people in US, Canada, Australia, people in even other parts of Europe, for example Spain or France, who like English literature. So I want to talk to them too. So welcome all to this video, and now let's talk to John Keats. He is a poet of odes, and here I have one of his odes. This is Ode to Fancy, and fancy means your imagination. But it is a little part of the imagination. The fancy is a little part of the imagination. And first of all, I want to put this mic somewhere on my shirt. So yes, better. Let's talk to John Keats. He is one of my favorite poets. So we will read only 8 lines from his around 90 lines poem Ode to Fancy. So, ever let the fancy roam, player never is at home. At a touch sweet player melteth, like to bubbles when rain pelteth. Then let winged fancy wander, through the thought still spread beyond her. Open wide the mind's cage door, she'll dart forth and cloudward soar. What a beautiful piece we have right here. These are the first 8 lines of Ode to Fancy, and I want to talk to you about the importance of imagination and the importance of reason. Imagination is a higher part of the soul, and it is higher than reason, which is another part of the soul. So, what kind of science is that which only nourishes the reason but starves the imagination? So I want you to pay heed to science that is feeding the higher part of the soul, that is the imagination. So for example, when a child is little and his fancy is curated, his fancy is fed by the elders, or by the books he reads, by the novels he reads, the short novels he reads when he is a child. So he will build up the imagination, and when he builds up the imagination, he can build up his memory, and when he can build up his memory, he can master many sciences. So it is absolutely essential for us to feed our imagination and feed the imagination of young ones with beautiful literature. And literature needs to be beautiful because the authors create a world where the hardships are not real, but whose merriment is real. We take joy in reading these great books. So I'm a fan of classical literature, and currently I'm reading The Brothers Karamazov from the Russian author, and Charles Dickens' great book, Great Expectations. The Russian author was Dostoevsky, The Brothers Karamazov. So, ever let the fancy roam, let your fancy roam, let it be open, let it not be closed by the shackles of your mind, be liberated. Player never is at home. John Keats says that player is never at home. The player that is at home, it melts like the bubbles made from raindrops who pop up instantly. So, player is never at home. But if books are at home and you dive into those books, so they take you out of sort of time and space, and they give you player that is lasting until the book lasts, obviously. And there are many books, we can read many books and we can have pleasure in reading those books. So it is really short-lived, transient pleasure. But if ideally you read the books, they can give you long-lasting pleasure. And if you've forgotten them, you can enjoy them again, reread them. You know, some scholars say that if a book is ever worth reading, it is at least worth reading thrice. So then let winged fancy wander. Fancy the bird. Let it be a bird, but a free bird, not a caged bird. Through the thought still spread beyond her. The thought, you know, we have this awesome organ called the brain, and the brain is connected to the mind, and mind is really infinite, and we need to tap onto that infinity. We need to feed our limited being from that unlimited reservoir of language, of knowledge, of these worlds that the authors create beautifully. Open wide the mind's cage door, she'll dart forth and cloudward soar. So I remember that I have written a poem, Ode to Height. Let me know if you want to listen it. It's some of my peers have read it, and they've said it's beautiful, and I hope to share it with you. Just in the comments, please give your opinion, talk to me, and we're together on this journey. So thank you for listening to me and in this video. And I was reading The Gift by Lewis Hyde, and in this book I was reading the chapter of Whitman. So Walt Whitman, or you may call him Whitman, Walt Whitman, both are okay for me. So he says that Whitman was really enthusiastic, and he defines enthusiasm as inspired by God. Someone, if he's inspired by God, he's enthusiastic. He gets reservoirs of meanings to his disposal, and he can take out wisdom from those reservoirs. So Waltman was enthusiastic, and his Leaves of Grass and Song of Myself are worth reading. So that's all for today. I'm happy to talk to you, and we'll talk soon again. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.